Hey, hey, Echelon, welcome, welcome. This is your Heart Rate Zone 30 class. How are we doing today? Team, let's start. We're going to be starting off in our warm-up in a zone 1 to 2. If you know what that means, get there now. If not, I will explain. Let's first get our setup on this bike. Hips are back into the saddle. Spine is long. Find a hinge forward from the hips. Light touch onto the handlebars. Make sure the shoulders are rolled back and down. Good, good. Think about drawing the belly button in to engage through the core. Now your stats, cadence, resistance, and output aren't as hugely important in this class as they are in other classes, but I will still walk you through them and give you some guidelines on where you should be. So the first number you see on your screen is cadence. That is your leg speed. That is how fast your legs are moving. Find 80 to 100 on your cadence now. Next number you see is resistance. Resistance is how much tension or pressure you have underneath your feet. It is controlled by the knob in the center of the bike. Let's find 10 to 15 on your resistance now. That should feel like a flat road or slightly above a flat road. Next number you see is output. Output is a combination of your cadence and resistance. That tells you how much power you're producing and also determines your spot on the leaderboard. Again, leaderboard and how much power you're producing aren't super important because we're really going to base this class off of your heart rate, but that output can also work as a guide. So we'll come back to that when the time comes. So know where that number is because you can use it as a guide because you can kind of match your power to your heart rate zone and go on like that. So if you have your heart rate monitor and if you have your stats set up in the app, great. You are ahead of the game. You can follow along with your heart rate on your screen. If you do not have that set up, do not worry at all. So we're gonna work backwards from our maximum heart rate. To find your maximum heart rate, if you don't have your stats set up, you take the number 220 and subtract your age from 220. Whatever that number comes out to be, that is your maximum heart rate. And then we're gonna work in percentages of your maximum heart rate. So right now we're in a zone 1 to 2, getting warm here. You should be at about 50 to 70 of your max heart rate in this zone. So that's about zone 1 to 2. Good. 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. You should be slowly inching up into zone 2 if you're not already there. So that will be 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Good, good. 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. This should feel like you can still breathe, you can still have a conversation if you needed to on this bike. You're not quite breathless. Good, good. We are gonna work in zone 3 in this class today. So a majority of this class will be spent in zone 3. I like to think of these zone 3 heart rate classes as almost a mini endurance ride, right? It's only a 30-minute ride. It's not like our longer endurance rides, but getting into zone 3 is really gonna work your endurance because we're gonna hold it for much longer stretches. Like I said, we'll be in zone 3 for almost this whole class. Good, good. Good, another couple of minutes to get warm here. You're still in zone 1 to 2. You are still at about 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Good. Slowly inching your way into zone 2 if you're not already there, but take your time to get there. Listen to your body, right? It's not a sprint right now. We're gonna inch our way from zone 1 to zone 2, and then we will hold on to zone 3 for most of class. Good, good. Again, you should still be conversational in zone 2. You could have a conversation, you can talk, you can breathe steadily, and then once we push into zone 3, that will change a little bit. But again, zone 3 is only gonna be 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate, so it's really a steady effort. It has amazing benefits holding long stretches there for cardiovascular health, and that's really what we're working towards here, team. Again, cadence should be about 80 to 100. If you want to ride to the beat, you're somewhere around 90. Resistance is still at your flat road, 10 to 15. Now we're going to get into our zone 3 by using a resistance challenge. So cadence will stay or maybe even slow slightly, and we will add resistance to get ourselves into zone 3. Then once we're in zone 3, we will push between levels within zone 3. So we'll start at 70% of your max heart rate, and then your challenge will be to increase resistance to work your way up to 80% of max heart rate, where you will hold it there and then peel back. So That zone 3 should feel like a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 if you don't have your stats set up. And you can always take a look at your output. Once you feel that 6 to 7 in your body, if you don't have your heart rate, if you have your heart rate set up, ignore this. You're just gonna follow your heart rate percentages. But if you don't, once we push into zone 3 in a minute here, you will find 6 to 7 effort. Take a look at your output once you're there. And even if you have your heart rate zone set up, you can take a look at your output and kind of use that number as a gauge. It won't be exact. Obviously, your heart rate stats are a little bit more specific, but you can kind of see if I'm at this output, if I've dropped my cadence a little bit and increased resistance, you can kind of use that as a rough guide. Good, good. Finishing out in zone 2 here. We're gonna push up to zone 3. In another 10 seconds, we will switch it up. Good. Finishing out our warm up here. We're gonna leave zone 2 behind us. And the bulk of this ride will put you in zone 3. All right, team. So cadence should be 70 to 100 now. I'm gonna give you a bigger cadence range because we're increasing resistance. You might wanna slow it down slightly. Or you can keep your cadence up and just add a little bit of resistance. Let's start to add some resistance on. Start with like 2 levels at a time and see how it feels until you push into your zone 3 heart rate. Again, that will feel like a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 if you don't have your heart rate percentages set up. Otherwise, push up to about 70% of your maximum heart rate. 70%. And ride. Whoop. Good, get there. Good, cadence tightens up anywhere from 75 to 95 on cadence. Resistance increase until you hit that 70%. Good. We're gonna ride here for 5 minutes. Hold on to this, team. Like I said, this is like a mini endurance ride. We're gonna hold on to these zone 3 pushes for long stretches of time. So we're right around 70% of your max heart rate. Your challenge here, in 5 minutes, we're gonna switch it up and you're gonna push up to 80% of your max heart rate, or a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. So right now we're riding at a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 effort, and then we'll push it up in a few minutes here. And we'll ride within that range, sticking in our zone 3 for the whole bulk of our working part of class, and then we'll peel back down, going from zone 3 down to zone 2, and maybe you'll even get down to zone 1 during our cool down. Good, good. Riding at about 70% of your max heart rate here. Hold on to it, team. So I like to picture these heart rate zone classes. Think less about being on an indoor bike and picture being on an outdoor track, right? So like that zone 2 that we were just in for your warm up, that's like riding a bike outside. You can kind of hold that indefinitely. And then as we inch up to zone 3, you can hold this for a long time, but maybe like 45 minutes or so would be your max before you'd have to take a break, maybe 60 minutes. So really picture that, like you're outside, and then as we start to increase resistance, just think about it. We're going over little hills, we're cruising. I like to picture it that way. My brother is a big biker, like outdoor races, and he does Ironmans and things like that. And I've went and cheered him on a few times. I'm not a big outdoor cycler. I stick to indoor cycling, but I picture him and kind of like the paths I've seen him take, and I think of myself on those. It just gives you a nice visual for what we're working and why we're working it. Good, good. Sticking in zone 3 here, sticking right around 70%. We'll have the opportunity to increase intensity up to your 80% mark in a couple of minutes, but for right now, hold on to right around 70% or a 6 to 7 feeling of effort on a scale of 1 to 10. Again, this is when you can maybe start to look at your output and just see where that number lies when you're both at 70% of your max heart rate and also when you're feeling that 6 to 7 level of effort on a scale of 1 to 10. And that can be a rough guide of where your output should kind of go as we move through this ride. If that makes sense to you and that speaks to you and that's helpful, great. If not, don't worry about it. Really the focus here is your heart rate. And if you don't have your heart rate monitor, it is just those efforts that I'm expressing, that I'm explaining. Good, good. Good, team. Just about another 2 minutes to ride here before we're gonna increase intensity. Again, we will increase intensity with resistance during this class. So cadence should still be right around a 75 to a 95. Again, maybe you're a little bit quicker if you want to stick with the beat. Otherwise, if you really want to take that resistance challenge seriously, you can drop cadence down and increase resistance. Good, good. That's it, that's it. Scotty boy, crushing it. Really good here, team. Ride it, ride it. So team, in this zone 3, this is when maybe you start to sweat, right? We should get a little bit warm here. We should start to sweat. You can talk at about a sentence or 2 at a time. So there is a little bit of breathlessness starting, but you can still speak. You can still get a sentence or 2 at a time out. And that sweat is starting a little bit, right? You're getting a little bit hot. The body is definitely warmed up in this zone 3. And we're holding this zone 3 for the majority of class. Right now, you're right at about 70% of your max heart rate. We're gonna push it up to about 80% of your max heart rate in another 40 seconds. So we're gonna intensify this a little bit more, still maintaining our zone 3, right? Because the zone 3 is 70 to 80% of your max heart rate. We're just gonna come to the top of that zone to find a little bit more intensity. Good, good. Just ride it. Long stretches here, team. Again, like I said, this is like a mini endurance challenge. You're really holding on to this zone for a long extended period of time, which is gonna help level up your body's endurance. If you like the way that this feels, you should check out some of my longer endurance classes, because they're kind of this, but much longer. I think there's some 60 and 75-minute ones floating around on the app, or I do live ones like once every 6 weeks on Sundays. Good, good, team. All right, let's start to increase intensity. Add a little bit more to resistance. Again, just adding a little bit at a time, 2 levels maybe at a time, and then ride it and start to work up to 80% of your max heart rate. Working up intensity. Maybe you maintain cadence here, or maybe you drop it slightly so that you can add even more resistance. I really want this to feel like a resistance challenge in zone 3. Again, it's not like we're coming up to a steep climb or some of those steeper rolling hills you'll find in other classes. It's really keeping a moderate climb. If you can picture it outside, it's like when there's a slight incline in the road and you're biking up it and you just feel that little bit of intensity increase. So picture that. You're on the road, we've turned a bend, and it's just slightly steeper, but it's not like a steep hill. It's just a little gradual incline that's gonna make this a little bit more intense. Good, good. Right, we should be hitting right about an 80% of your max heart rate. Now, again, this should feel like 7, maybe even 8 on a scale of 1 to 10 effort. You can, again, check out your output and use that as a little guide. Good, good. Hold it. Another 4.5 minutes here at this slightly higher level of intensity, and then we'll peel it back and push one more time. And that's gonna take us through our class, team. You are crushing it, just under halfway through the class. We're coming up to our halfway point in another minute here, team. Good, good. Huh. Cadence should be right, heart rate should be right around 80%. Cadence stays steady here. Once you've gotten your resistance to where it needs to be, it stays steady. And just pay attention. Every once in a while, check in on your heart rate. Because as you get fatigued, your body might be working a little bit harder to keep you in that heart rate zone. So you might have to adjust cadence and resistance accordingly, because the cadence and resistance at the beginning of class that was getting you to 80% might be pushing you past that. So you might need to peel it back. Just see where the body is at. Listen to your body. Pay attention to your heart rate here. Huh. That's it. Come on, Team UK. You've got this. Good, good. Another 3 minutes to ride it at your 80% of your max heart rate. Should feel like a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. Good, good. That's it, that's it. And then we'll drop it back just a little bit in just over 2.5 minutes. But again, we're maintaining, it's like over 20 minutes in zone 3 in this class here. Really challenging our endurance. We're really getting into that zone 3 that gives us amazing benefits in the body, right? For cardiovascular health, for endurance, you're working all those things. Good, again, a little bit of sweat is coming. We're not drenched, just a little bit, feeling it, heating up in the body. You can get about a sentence or 2 out at a time. These are all the things we should be feeling if you don't have your heart rate monitor to follow. I like to make this class super accessible. I love it when people have their exact stats in front of them, but even if you don't, this class is so worth doing. And I see some of you have your stats, some of you don't. That's awesome, it's great. Good, good. Keep working it. Spinning for Vegas, I love that. Push it. Hips are back, spine is long. Even though we're paying attention to all these stats on the bike, do not forget about our form. Huh. Good, good. Team, in another minute, we're gonna peel it back to 70% of your max heart rate. It should feel like a 60 to 70 a 6 or a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10 effort. If you check out your output, maybe you remember what you were last time we were at that 70% max heart rate, and you can come back to it. Otherwise, just listen to your body, see how it feels. You can take my cues that are more related to how it feels, what the effort is like. Good, team. Good, team. In 20 seconds, maybe you peel a few levels of resistance off to get to your 70% max heart rate. Start to peel it back now. Heart rate will drop just slightly. 70% of your max heart rate. We ride for 5 minutes here. Good, ride it, ride it. So again, if you're picturing your road outside, we were just kind of finding that gradual increase. The road is leveled out slightly now. It's leveled out, we're still working. There's still a little bit of resistance on, but it's not as steep as it was. Dropping back down, 70% of your max heart rate. Ride it here, hold on to it. That's it, Special K. Shoulders back, draw the belly button in. Remember to pay attention to your form. Do not lose that. Come on. Another 4 minutes to ride here. Then we will increase intensity again before we hit our cool down. Stick to your zone 3 here. Let's go, let's go. Riding in a zone 3 class, it's almost, sometimes you have to practice restraint, because sometimes it's tempting just to go for it, push it. Maybe you hit your 4 or your 5 zone, but in this class, it's really holding on to zone 3, practicing restraint, challenging your endurance, and getting all the benefits of being in a zone 3. Good, good. Like I said, we're going to be in zone 3 for over 20 minutes of this class. Good, good. Ride it, ride it. That's it, physically fit. From Georgia, USA, I love it. I don't think I've ever actually been to Georgia. I'm actually really I have not been to a lot of the states, which is something I want to change. Whenever I go back to the US, I always just visit the same places over and over, because I always try to go where my family and friends are and everything. But I should do a little bit more exploring. I've been to a good amount. Going to Arizona this year, that's a new one. Good, good. Road trips are a good way to see a lot. I road tripped from New Jersey to Colorado. I've done that road trip twice. And that's a fun one. For anyone that lives on that route, it's good. You get a lot of cornfields, but it's a really cool thing to see, just how the landscape changes so much as you go. For anyone that's not from the US, go check it out. Go do a road trip in the US. It's very cool. So many things to see. Team, we have another 90 seconds at 70% of your max heart rate before we increase it again. We're gonna push again. We're gonna push up to our 80% of our max heart rate. So we're gonna stay in zone 3, but increase intensity slightly. You're gonna increase intensity by adding a few levels of resistance on. Cadence should stay, again, 75 to 95 really on your cadence throughout this whole class. And you're just increasing and removing resistance to adjust your intensity to get that heart rate to go up and down slightly. Good, less than a minute till we start to change it up. All right, team. In another 20 seconds, we're gonna start to increase this intensity, getting us back to 80% of our max heart rate. This will feel like a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe you took note of your output last time we were here, and you wanna get back to a similar output. Good. Let's start to increase intensity, add a few levels of resistance on. In 3, in 2, in 1, add it on. Let's get there. 80% of your max heart rate. Good, it will take a little while to get there. Doesn't have to be immediate. You have to let the body level up, but once you are there, we ride. We have 5 minutes left here before you hit your cool down. 5 minutes left to ride in zone 3. 5 minutes of work really left in this class. And then we'll have 2 minutes of cool down to finish us off. 2 minutes to lower back down into zone 2. Maybe you'll even lower down all the way into zone 1. But we'll take our time and gradually get there. Good, good. That's it, team. 80% of your max heart rate now. Should feel like a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. Hold it. You are at the top of your zone 3. The tippy top of your zone 3. That is where this challenge is. Another 4 minutes to ride here, team. Again, sweat is forming. You can get a sentence or two out at a time. Speaking wise, you're a little bit breathless, but it's still a very controlled effort. That is why we've been able to hold it for such a long time. Good, good. That's it, team. And you're pushing against resistance to maintain this effort. Steady. Good, good, team. Final 3 minutes to hold on to this effort. Hold it steady. 80% of your max heart rate. That's it, Scotty Boy 22. DB, you've got this. Someone else from Georgia. Cool. That's it, team. Hit. That's it. Oh, happy day. It is a happy day. You're almost done with this ride. Hopefully that makes it a happy day. No, I'm just kidding. This ride should feel really good. It should feel like one that you actually maybe would want to do for longer. Most of the rides that I teach that are in Heart Rate Zone, I say give me everything you have left. Get everything out of your tank. This one is like one of the few that it's like, you know, maybe I could add another few minutes onto that if I wanted to. That's kind of what it's designed to be. Good, good. Although I'm sure when we get to the end of this zone 3, you will be feeling some fatigue. We've held it for a long time. That is where your body has to level up, right? These zone 3s, like when you start them at the beginning of class, they start to feel a lot different at the end. You even question at the beginning of the class, like, is this going to give me enough of a workout? Because it doesn't feel like too much when you start it. But once you've held it for 20 plus minutes, you start to feel it. And you know you're working. And you know it's working. Good, good. Still at 80% of your max heart rate. Hold it there. And then we'll slowly take the heart rate back down in another minute. Final minute to ride in zone 3 here. And then we'll have 2 minutes to cool it down. 2 minutes to slowly come down into zone 2. Maybe you'll even drop into zone 1 as we finish out class. Good, good. For right now, hold on to your ride. Hold on to the top of your zone 3. Hold on to your 7 or so feeling of effort on a scale of 1 to 10. Final 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Team, in 15 seconds, we'll start to drop out of zone 3. It will take some time, so I want you to start by maintaining the speed and just take 2 or 3 levels off your resistance. Good, take 2 or 3 levels off your resistance. In 3, in 2, in 1. 2 or 3 levels off your resistance. Maintain your cadence for right now. This is gonna allow you to slowly come out of your zone 3, right? You should be dropping down to the lower part of your zone 3. And then we'll take another 2 levels of resistance off in 15 seconds. And that will drop us down a little bit more. Good. In 5 seconds, another 2 levels of resistance off. In 3, in 2, in 1, another 2 levels of resistance off. You should be coming down close to your flat road now. Somewhere between 10 and 15 on resistance. Get there if you're not already there. Cadence, start to go 80 to 100, wherever feels good in that range. 80 to 100 on your cadence, 10 to 15 on resistance. Good. Letting the heart rate come down. Easing off, maybe you even drop just below 80 cadence. Good, come back to your breath. Good, if you're not already there, you should be inching down to zone 2, inching down to 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Should feel like a 5 to 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. Ride it here, good. You can lift up, roll the shoulders back. Should be in your zone 2 by now. Maybe you're even dropping into zone 1. Good, safely coming down. Take care of your bodies, look after yourself. Maybe you stretch or take a strength class in Fit Pass. I look forward to having you back in our Heart Rate Zone class soon. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys crushed it. Way to do it. I will see you back on this bike very soon. Bye, Echelon.